I love a good adaptation from books to movies, but what happens when it's the other way around? Hello everyone, my name is April and welcome back to my channel, or welcome to if you've never been here before. Today's video is all about books that were inspired by movies or TV shows. Now you often get recommendations that are movies inspired by books or even adapted from books, but this is the other way around. And we're just not going to mention that some of these are books inspired by movies that were also adapted from books. That's a little too meta. We're not going to think about that, okay? We're just going to go with these books were inspired by TV and or movies. And I have noticed this a lot recently. I have 3 that I've read and 3 that I'm interested in reading. So you guys can be the judge on the ones that I haven't read yet on whether they actually live up to that inspiration. The first book that honestly inspired this video is It Happened One Summer by Tessa Bailey. This book is inspired by the show Schitt's Creek, which is a lovable little show about a family that is recently lost all their money and they only had this one property that they've bought in this town. And they're trying to integrate into the town, and it's a lot of laughs and very funny. This character is inspired by Alexa, who is in the show. This character's name is Piper. So she's very aloof, rich, spoiled brat kind of feel to her, but also very sweet. Piper is an influencer and a little out of control, honestly. So her stepfather or her father forces her to go to this very small fishing town in, who knows, Washington. And they have to fix up this bar there that was theirs, her father's. And in doing so, she meets Brendan, who is a fisherman. And this is very hot and steamy, honestly. And the character Piper is exactly like Alexa, and I can totally see where the inspiration came from. I think it was a very good, well-written representation of her. And this is just a really fun, hot and steamy little book, even though it's a cartoon cover. Don't let this fool you. The next book that was inspired by a movie is Always Be My Duchess by Amelie Howard. This is inspired by Pretty Woman. Now, the heroine in this is not a sex worker. She is actually a ballerina. However, there are scenes in here that are literally direct scenes from Pretty Woman that I totally saw playing out. Like you have the like makeover scene, and then with the friend being gross to her and that kind of thing, they have this negotiation of having to be together. So in this you have the Duke of Montcroy, who is actually saved by, I hope I'm saying this right, Neve. Her like real name is Genevieve, but I don't know how to say her shortened version of her name. And in doing so, she thinks it's just like, okay, I saved you, goodbye, good night. But he actually propositions her to ask her to be his fake fiance for a time. And in doing so, that's where the kind of the Pretty Woman-esque inspiration comes from for this book. And I really enjoyed this book. It was really fun, and I absolutely think it was lots and lots of scenes in this are almost not direct, but definitely you can feel the inspiration from it in this book. I really liked it. It was really good. And I love Amelie Howard. I might be an Amelie Howard stan. So the next one is also inspired by a movie. It is 'Tis the Season for Revenge by Morgan Elizabeth. This is inspired by Legally Blonde. In this you have Abby, who is on her way to her boyfriend's law firm's Halloween party. So she's dressed up in her very scantily clad costume, and as her boyfriend picks her up, he actually dumps her because she's not, you know, conservative enough, or she's not serious enough and that kind of thing. And so she actually starts to plot revenge on her boyfriend to try and snag a date by one of his coworkers to go to his office party as well and make him jealous. I don't know. She ultimately does want to win back her ex-boyfriend, but in doing so, she meets Damien, who is one of the top lawyers in the firm, and he is also much older than her, and they have the most steamy and sexy relationship together, and it is so good. I really loved this book. It definitely has Legally Blonde vibes and feels to it while not directly related. So I think you guys should check it out. If you love the movie, you should definitely read this book. Now the next three I haven't read, but I have heard many people say these were inspired by these movies and TV shows. So the first one is The Weight of Blood by Tiffany D. Jackson, and this is inspired by the movie Carrie, which again is also a book, I understand. Madison is bullied all the time, and through her town's discovery of their own racist history, she finds out that she is biracial and has been passing as white all the time. To kind of overcome this history, the town or the high school decides to put on an integrated prom, and most people are down for it. However, there's a few choice students who continue to want to bully Madison, and they are gonna get the surprise of their life if they continue to do so at the prom itself, because I have a feeling she's got some kind of magical ability or just an ability that they never expected. So this one definitely has some Carrie vibes along with some themes of racism in it, and it sounds really, really good. It's been on my TBR for forever, and I just really need to get to it. Let me know if you think as well that it does have Carrie vibes in it. So the next one is inspired by the show Peaky Blinders, which is one of my favorites. And this is Vicious Bonds by Shanora Williams. I have not read this book. However, I've heard from many people that it has Peaky Blinders vibes to it. So in this one, you have Willow, who is somehow dropped into a forest, and then someone is pointing a gun at her, and that someone is Kaz, who is supposed to be the very like Tommy character from Peaky Blinders. She can read his thoughts, and he doesn't want her to, so he's making it his mission to return her to wherever she came from. So I think where the Peaky Blinders inspiration comes from is Kaz and his family. They sound like very like mafia-esque people. I don't think this is a fantasy, but it probably is some kind of magical realism type book. I don't know for sure, but I've heard it reads more contemporary. So let me know if you've read that one. I'm still highly interested in it, and I definitely want to read it. And the last one actually is not even out yet, but I'm so excited for it. I can't even explain. It is the next Stacy Reid book, and it's called An Earl to Remember. And this book is heavily inspired by the movie Overboard. If you have not watched Overboard, you absolutely should. It's basically an amnesia romance. Someone is hit in the head, goes overboard and found by a fisherman. The girl is very rich, and this poor fisherman finds her, makes her kind of like do all the things that, you know, a poor man's wife should do. So I'm curious to see how this translates to historical romance, and I don't think Stacy Reid can go wrong right now, so I know that this is going to be a really great one. It comes out in August, so late August, so look out for that then. And I know I'll be reading it to see how much of the overboard antics plays into this book, and I am absolutely excited for it. So those are the 6 books that were inspired by TV and movies. Leave me a comment and let me know if you know of any others. And as always, I hope you have a wonderful day, and I'll see you next time. Bye.